Today's conversation is sponsored by First Generation Capital Partners. If you're an accredited investor and you want to know about how we're helping other accredited investors keep more of their income, go to firstgencp.com/going long.
You're listening to the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels, the #1 podcast for long-distance real asset investing.
Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're back once again to continue to help to educate you so you feel much more comfortable as well as confident investing beyond your backyard. And yes, I'm your host, Billy Keels, and I am super excited to share another one of these solo episodes with you because we're going to get into something that is really, really interesting and makes a big impact, especially if you are someone who's looking to create new alternatives for your life. So before we get into that, though, I want to just say really quickly, thank you so much for continuing to share. You are sharing across social media. It's a great way for us to be able to connect with new people as you're screen sharing on LinkedIn and Instagram, and you're also tagging us and tag us even more. We want to know more and more about you sharing it, and we'd love to be able to interact even more with you. So thanks for that. And also too, if you want to leave your honest written review as well as rating, feel free to do that. We made a nice little video. You can do that very easily on the Apple podcast platform, also on Spotify. Would be greatly appreciated. For those of you who are also looking for all of the previous episodes, just go to firstgencp.com/podcast. You can find every single version, the audio version, the video version, firstgencp.com/podcasts. So let's jump into today's conversation. But one thing I do want to just recognize, I want to continue to recognize everybody because you're continuing to leave your honest written reviews, and then we'll jump into the episode. Today, I want to recognize Mike Alb90. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mike Alb90 says, amazing show. Billy is an incredible podcast host and makes his guests feel comfortable to be able to really open up and share. He's thoughtful and inquisitive, so the listeners have actionable takeaways to utilize in the real world. Keep up the excellent work, Billy. So thanks so much, Mike Alb90. We appreciate your amazing, honest written review. And if you want to have your written review read to people over 40 countries and tens of thousands of downloads, feel free to do that. Leave it here, and we'd appreciate that. Also, too, it helps us give you more of what it is that you're looking for. So let's jump into today's conversation. So I wanted to, conversation, I guess it's a solo episode. And once again, I want to keep these brief, but this is about one of the things that I learned growing up. And I used to listen to my grandparents say this stuff and my grandmothers, and now I hear my parents, and believe it or not, I'm even saying it myself. So this is one of these things that happens in life, in that, you really don't get something for nothing. The whole concept, and I want to talk about the majority, right? Of course, I'm talking about 99% of the time. Of course, there's the 1% where you may get something for doing absolutely nothing or being completely lucky or whatever the case may be. But let's talk about the 99 or the 99.9% of times when you say, okay, well, you don't get something for nothing. Let me give you a couple examples. And I always start a little bit on this in the last solo conversation I had, or solo episode. But, think about when you are, you want to go out and you want to get that fantastic six pack, because so many people think about, I want to get in the perfect shape. And so the six pack is like the perfect thing, and everybody wants to have that wonderful six pack. And the thing is, you can't take a pill and get it overnight. You can't drink a magic formula and get it overnight. You have to do some work, right? And you have to do work, and you have to combine the way that you eat, the exercise that you have, and being able to combine all of these different factors so that you get the ultimate result. You get that something. But you don't get that something for doing absolutely nothing 99% of the time. And it's no different than when I was looking at my real estate, at my real estate investing, and then eventually went from real estate investing to investing in lots of different types of real assets. And one of the things that I mentioned to you before, and we've talked about this, as I started opening my mind to investing in new things outside of the stock market, real estate was the first thing that I started doing that in. And real estate was great because it provided the cash flow that I was looking for. It provided the tax efficiencies. It didn't bring my taxes down like I thought it was, but it provided tax efficiencies that I was looking for. And then on the backside, it did provide some opportunities for appreciation. And so that started opening my mind to new things. So I was getting something because I was also doing some work, recognizing and as I come along, I've started to recognize that these are things that are more and more important to take into consideration. How are we generating the cash flow? What team is going to be actually there doing the work? What are the risks that are associated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that went from the real estate, the mobile home park, then went into investing with other people and asking more about, okay, what is the sponsorship that is here? What are their risks, et cetera, et cetera. But the idea was, as I started coming along, I started recognizing that I still had a pretty major problem. Why? Because I was, and I found out later, an accredited investor. And as an accredited investor, I was investing in all these different streams of passive income. And these passive income streams were extremely efficient and they were great, but they weren't helping me with what was my biggest problem. And that was my income tax. So I started looking for, because I started asking different questions. I know I've talked about this before. Ask different questions, you get different responses. I started looking for ways to be able to, the question then became, how can I also create consistent returns? Because that's something that was the lifeblood and provides me and my family with the runway that we need to create the lifestyle that we want. And at the same time, how can I also keep more of my income and not have to worry about the income tax while finding a vehicle that creates consistent income, but helping me to keep more of my income from the tax man, from Uncle Sam. And so as I started asking these questions, and I ended up finding a vehicle that allows me to do that, right? A vehicle that is helping to create consistent returns. It also helps in terms of being able to provide a service, and the service that Uncle Sam is looking for anyway, which is energy production. And so as we're doing that, it also allows the opportunity to be able to keep more of my income rather than paying it in income tax, because I am providing a service that Uncle Sam wants done. And so it's the exact same kind of thing. But well, why is this? This sounds too good to be true, Billy. This can't be right. Well, it is right, because it's something that I've been doing. And it's also the reason that I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to also start to ask different questions and also recognize that you don't get something for nothing, right? So and I'll just use my example again, right? As I'm looking in this new area, in this new vehicle that I started looking at years ago was, okay, it sounds too good to be true, but let me find out a little bit more about it. And so as I find out, well, why is it that I'm able to generate consistent future returns? Well, that is because I'm in an area that is energy production. And so in the energy production space, well, you're providing a service and you're getting compensated for that service. So it's providing a return. Well, then why is it that most of the investments that I was doing only help me on passive income, but this is active income? Well, this is specifically because in energy production, specifically in oil and gas production, there are very specific rules to helping the US government produce more oil and gas. And some of those rules allow you to be able to have any losses that you have taken against your ordinary income. And so it's not that you're doing it, that it's not that I'm able to provide these types of returns or provide these types of benefits for nothing. It's because I'm in this very specific space. I was asking very specific questions. And also I understand the risks that are associated with it. And as I understand the risk that I'm comfortable with, then these risks are ones that say, okay, well, perfect. And as I understand the team, I understand the risks associated with the team. I understand the risk associated with the individual opportunity. These are the different levers that I'm looking to evaluate so that I can make the best decision for me as to whether or not I want to get the reward, i.e. solve the problem that I was trying to solve, which was creating consistent returns and at the same time being able to keep more of my money where it made the most sense, which is through income tax. This is what led me down the road to this vehicle. And this vehicle is one that's consistently helped me, and it's consistently now helping other people, specifically those that are accredited investors, high wage earners that are wanting to create consistent future returns, also wanting to understand risks associated with these types of investments, and then saying, okay, I'd also like to be able to keep more of my income. So like I said, you never get something for nothing. This is a process that I went through myself, started investing in real estate. It opened my eyes to new things. I started recognizing that it was generating passive income. That passive income was extremely tax efficient, but it wasn't helping me where I had my biggest problem, which was still paying 40+% in income tax. And so as I started looking for a way to create consistent returns and be much more tax efficient on the income side of things, I found this particular area of energy production. And as I started asking questions, understanding the risks associated with it and understanding, it's not that I'm getting something for nothing. I'm actually understanding the team, the opportunity, the risks associated. And in return for that, I get the reward that I'm looking for. So like I said, I want to keep this really, really short. The answers are there for you, especially if you are an accredited investor. It's just about asking different questions. It's about understanding the types of income. I know we've talked about that before. And if it sounds like you have something that is a very similar type of issue and you're looking for a similar type of reward or specific type of response or solution, it all starts with education, right? And I went through this already myself. And because of that, I've sat down and just created an understanding for you. What are the steps that I took and how did I get here? And so if you're interested in understanding more about how you can create this same solution for yourself, go to firstgencp.com/going long. You can understand more about this two bucket theory that I like to talk about and how it can potentially help you. But more importantly, as you're listening to this episode, it's about what is the solution that you're looking for and what are the questions that you can be asking, the education that you need, and surrounding yourself with the right support system. So if this sounds like something that could be helpful for you, go to firstgencp.com/going long. And while you're doing that, reading and downloading the form, I'll be here preparing for the next solo episode. And so until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very much. Trust that you enjoyed today's conversation. And once again, today's conversation was sponsored by First Generation Capital Partners. If you're an accredited investor and want to find out more about how we're helping accredited investors to gain their personal freedom even faster, go to firstgencp.com/going long.